This walk with the Most High was not supposed to be easy. When you fully give your life to the Messiah, over time he will slowly start to change you and mold you into a new creation. You will become new wine that goes into new wineskin, right? However, it gets a lot deeper than that. He will literally call you to remove specific things from your life that are not pleasing to him. This could literally be anything from hobbies to what you listen to, what things you like to watch, to remove certain friendship groups from your life. But then it can also get to the more difficult stage, which is removing your family members from your life. And I personally have experience of this recently, of having to cut off toxic family members. Now recently the Most High called me to be the generational curse breaker. It's something that he's been preparing my heart for a while. I've always kind of felt like I am the generational curse breaker in my family, but I never really understood it. I really never knew like how to break the generational curses. But I feel like he's taken me on a journey to recognize things, to start seeing things, to kind of get jigsaw pieces to put together to see the whole picture of the situation and what actually needs to be broken off. And recently for me, that personally looked like having to cut off family members. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be the same for you if you are a generational curse breaker for your family, which most of us in the truth are, right? However, for me personally, this was the case. And that is because I grew up in a very, very toxic household. Now, my mum brought us up in the church, in the word. However, behind closed doors, it was a very different story. The mum that you saw on Sunday was not the same mum at home. There would be endless beatings with sticks and physical violence with her hands, like repetitively hitting us. There would be manipulation, like the list goes on. The manipulation though was the worst. Scriptures getting twisted out of context and just her manipulating us with the scriptures in order to make us believe things that weren't true. And I've now come to realise that manipulation is actually witchcraft, it's actually Jezebelic. There's other spirits behind it as well, but Jezebel is the main culprit. And I recently got called by the Most High to cut contact with my mum. And since being with my husband, a man of the Most High, we started seeing each other 2.5 years ago. And from that point forward, I could tell that she did not like the fact that I had a man of the Most High. Somebody other than her who was guiding me in the walk, teaching me things that I never even knew about, making me see scripture in a completely different way, in a new light, in the truth of the scriptures. Because my whole life I've just been under this rock of legalism and just having the scripture taught to me in a way that fit her. But most of it wasn't even sound doctrine. But that's a whole nother story. But anyway, I recently got called to cut contact with my mum. And I battled with this for literally 2.5 years. I was in and out of having contact with her constantly. And it was just a really big battle in my life. Because on one hand, I want to love her, I want to honour her, I want to respect her. But on the other hand, I could see the demonic oppression on her. And I could see the things that needed to be delivered from my bloodline. And I had tried to bring up things in conversations with her, it just got ignored. It got pushed aside. I then got married 6 months ago, and from that point on, things went even more downhill, let me tell you. And my testimony from marriage alone is wild, like seeing spirits literally manifest in front of your eyes. It's a lot. But yeah, these principalities were literally having havoc. They were manifesting onto myself, they were manifesting onto my husband, they were trying to cause division in my marriage. And there was a point where me and my husband, very early on in our marriage, actually separated, and I ended up going back to my mum's. And it was when I was back at my mum's that he revealed himself to me in a way that it's gonna make me cry, but it's just in a way that I've literally never experienced before. And he showed himself to me in ways that he's never showed me himself before. And I'm not talking like I physically saw him or anything like that, but like hearing his voice so tangibly and him leading me and guiding me to scriptures and to different things. And I do believe that the separation that me and my husband had, which wasn't long either, by the way, it was like a week and a half, was literally needed because I needed to work on things, he needed to work on things, and he revealed stuff to both of us in this week and a half that led us to our restoration, led us to our healing, to our deliverance, and to where we are now, which is a whole nother story. I need to do a whole nother video on that alone, which I feel I need to do with him because he's part of the story and he can share his insights and stuff. But yeah, back to the point. But anyway, while I was at my mum's, he showed himself to me in a way that I can't even put into words. And he showed me through the scriptures what the spirits are behind narcissism, and that she actually was a narcissist. And he showed me the reasons why and how these spirits entered the bloodline. And it got to a point where I had to sit back and I had to really analyze the situation and think, how much do I actually love the Messiah? How much do I love the Most High, and how much am I actually willing to give up for him? And I sat with this for a while, just crying and praying and just seeking answers within myself, because as much as I want to honor my mum, as much as I want to respect her as a person, as my mother on earth, the truth of the matter was he had joined me to my husband. We had become one flesh, and because my husband could actually see the demonic behind my mum, the principalities that were plaguing her life and trying to tell me and call it out, these principalities did not like that at all. And it caused a lot of havoc in our marriage. It caused arguments, pride. It caused us to just be at battle with each other so much, to the point that it actually caused me to go back to my mum. And I had all these voices in my head from family telling me, you know, this, that, and the other about him, which were not true. And these spirits were very manipulative, and I realized this. And then I came to the conclusion that actually, I love the Messiah so much, I would be willing to give up anything for him, anything. And now that he had shown me the principalities that I was dealing with within my family and within my bloodline, I knew that it had to end with me, and that this was why he called me to the truth. This is why he called me to be the generational curse breaker. And I finally understood what it actually means to be a generational curse breaker. It's not all rainbows and clouds and, ooh, I'm a generational curse breaker. No, it is the nitty gritty hard endurance that the Messiah tells us we have to go through. If we are going to be a true disciple for him, we are going to have to go through really tough things. And it was in that moment that I thought, you know what, the Messiah literally gave his life up for me. And if he's calling me to give up these relationships within my family in order to pursue my relationship with him, in order to pursue, you know, deliverance, healing, all those things, I can't get those things if I'm still walking in alignment with the bad. And sometimes you have to cut off the previous generation in order to heal from it, in order to, you know, break the generational curses. So I ended up being in contact with my husband. He contacted me, funnily enough, and we reconciled, long story short. And now we are both in a very good and healthy place in ourselves, in our marriage. And it's because we've been obedient to the Most High. We've cut off things that needed to be cut off. We've both internally been looking in ourselves what we need healing from our childhoods that have caused us to be the way that we are, to act out in our childhood trauma, to act out in our insecurities. And we've really been pursuing each other again and just starting fresh. And the Most High, from our obedience, has blessed us with this house. He's blessed my husband with a new job. We've relocated to an area which we absolutely love. I'm growing food again in my garden, which I'm so excited about. And I just feel so much happier, so much more at peace. And he's also shown me my lineage of my family, which actually, you're not going to believe this, I am a daughter of Joseph, which is wild. But I'm going to do a whole video on that because I'm running out of time. And it is a lot. But, like, wow. Just your encouragement. If the Most High is calling you to do something, do it. Your obedience will be rewarded.